Today's guest is Syracuse field hockey head coach Lynn Farquhar. We get into her journey through the sport, how she's helped build one of the top programs in the country, what she looks for in players beyond just talent, and how she works to put her athletes in a position to succeed on and off the field. A lot of great insight in this one for athletes, coaches, parents, and anyone interested in leadership and building culture. Hope you enjoy it.
Shared a hotel with the Canadian men, women, and then our men's national team. So that was neat. So Grant is our high performance director. He was coming regardless. Our staff was going to be 3 to 4, and then it ended up being 2 plus Grant, and then 3.
How old are the athletes? Is it U20?
Yep, U21.
U21.
Yeah.
So they're around that 21, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like our
So they're kind of
collegiate group.
adults. You don't have to like babysit per se.
Yeah. I did not go into sport psychology because I didn't want to study forever. However, I think that's actually a huge part of my job.
Any Syracuse players?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Bigby was there. Aubrey Turner on the bubble, so hopefully she can make this next round. But Taylor and I ended up flying out of Syracuse. They were all doing their work on the road. She did really well. She was actually, it's probably one of my favorite moments. So in order to qualify at that point, we had to finish top 3. We played Uruguay for a second time. First time we beat them 5-0. Second time they score literally 30 seconds left. We review it. We have a player review. The goal stands. So then this is literally 30 seconds left on the clock. Game ends and we go into shootouts. Have you ever seen shootouts?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen like
ice
Instagram
hockey too,
videos.
right?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a one-on-one. So it's an intense moment. And you have 5 people and they take a shootout. And I talked to the players group earlier, the ones that we knew wanted to take it and were confident. Nobody wanted to go number 1. Nobody wanted, not like,
nervous?
yeah, it was just, all right, I'll go in 2, 3, 4. Those were the most popular slots. And there was 2 and they were like, I'm good. Give me anything. So that was a moment, you know, you're coaching Syracuse, obviously. It's your player. So you want her to be set up for success. You're also representing the U.S. So it's like, all right, Tay, you're up. You're going to be number 1. And she's so brave. She's like, you know, Cuse DNA. She's got grit, bravery. She'll run through a wall for you. It's like that old school athlete that you just want to coach over and over again. So she went first and she made it. Thank God.
Nice.
She made it.
Nice.
So that moment was pretty cool to see her. You know, so much of sport you can see in the celebration.
Yeah.
And it's just raw passion,
Emotion.
right? Like
Yeah.
you work so hard and it just comes out in that instant. So that was really neat to see her set us up. And then the rest of the crew took care of business. Goalkeeper Emily Nichols was outstanding. Other players scored. Yeah. And then even during, so you line up and in that moment, I don't think anybody's held my sweatshirt so tightly because, you know, like your arms around each other. And Taylor was just like white knuckles on the sweatshirt. But it was cool because it was just a big moment of sport. You know, wasn't honored to be there. Actually, the reason I was there is Ange Bradley, who was the head coach at Syracuse prior to me. And actually, I was her assistant here years ago as well. She was the one who invited me to work with the U21s at the training camp. So she was the reason I was able to experience that. So it's kind of neat, you know, the full circle coaching tree and an opportunity to crack in the door and, you know, dive in. And so we won, qualified, thank goodness, and ended up getting a silver medal.
Oh,
Yeah.
congrats.
Which actually my husband, he is the chatterbox. So if you want somebody for a podcast, he's the one who is great at storytelling. But he makes me bring props because he's like, if you don't bring this, you're not going to talk about it, Lynn. And I'm like, well, so we have the medal, which is pretty cool. But I think the boys were more excited. So yeah, it was pretty neat to, you know, represent the red, white, and blue and walk away with the silver. Most importantly, qualified for the World Cup.
Chili right on there.
Yeah. So there's going to be a group competing for
Pictures
that.
biting it.
Oh yeah,
They do that.
always.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. My wife now, it was girlfriend at the time, she played on the U.S. women's lacrosse team. And so a year or so into us dating, you know, we knew each other in college, so it was kind of like longer. They were playing the World Games in Poland, in Wrocław. I think it looked like Wrocław, but I think it's pronounced Wrocław. And so, yeah, 10-hour flight, 2-hour flight. And clear, you know, they just played in England and a lot of the family members went there. So it was like a smaller group in Poland. And so there's just like maybe 15 of us. And so we kind of all knew each other, and they ended up winning. But it was just like, it almost made it that much more special when you're like literally traveling across the world together as a group, as they're winning games. It's like, it's fun in your backyard, but when you're actually when it's like almost a whole trip,
Yeah.
it makes it that much more special. I'm sure you kind of experience that.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even Shannon Taylor. So Ange was coaching at Richmond. That's where I first started coaching with her. So it started as a volunteer assistant.
Right out of school?
Yep.
Okay.
So I went to Old Dominion, Beth Anders, 9 national championships. She's kind of like the Pat Summit of field hockey. Karen Shelton caught up. So that's UNC recently. But Beth, huge teacher of the game, wrote many books, coached national team, played national team, just one of, believed in like Coach Wooden, right? Fundamentals of the game, life skills through sport. And then Ange was a huge, I guess, follower and believed in a lot of what Beth taught. So I did a summer camp with her. And then she asked if I'd come on board. So I turned down my paid position in a marketing job. And I was like, all right, well, I missed the game already. You're out for a summer. You've done it I did it for 5 years because I took a 5th year. Every year you're working camps, and like doing the circuit and traveling. So I was like, all right, well, why not try now? I can always go back to a business job.
Where are you from originally?
Alexandria, Virginia, born in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. So Virginia girl.
Yeah.
Hockey isn't huge in Northern Virginia. It's grown a little bit. So started with soccer and then kind of rolled over late.
Like high school, is that when you started playing?
I did. I started in 9th grade, lost my junior year with an ACL tear.
Oh.
So I had 3 years in high school and then somehow ended up at Old Dominion. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, because I asked that. Growing up here in Syracuse, like I went to West Tennessee, there was no field hockey. I think it's grown a little bit in the area. And, but Syracuse has had a team. So it was always kind of weird. So I never saw it that much just because growing up, it wasn't around. And then, obviously in college was around. And then when I moved to Texas, I remember St. Stephen's, a private school. My wife was coaching there, and they had a player that was very good at lacrosse and very good at field hockey. So I remember like watching their games, and it's exciting. It's a cool sport.
It's a good pair because of your hand-eye coordination as well. Now, I started, so I was a big soccer player, but in Virginia it was a spring sport. So when I started, my options were in the fall, it was field hockey with pleated skirts and collars. It's horrendous. I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, how to do that? Or cross country, but then you're running in like lollies. And I'm like, I'm not running in those. So I guess I'll just throw the skirt over the shorts for games and we'll test it out. And then it was a new challenge. I kind of fell in love with that. But also our game is so different when you get on the water-based surface. It's just so much faster. And from there, it's like, I don't know, it's freedom. It's fun.
Yeah, I was saying in high school, they just play on grass typically, like natural grass.
Well, back in the day, for us, it was grass. Now it's the field turf.
Okay, most high schools have the field turf. But you play on more of like an AstroTurf, right? The shorter.
Yeah, ours is like the carpet, so it doesn't have that black beads. It's almost like if you're playing pool or golf, you want it, and we water it too. Our ball has dimples, so it stays flat and firm. So the speed is important for the skill sets.
It was right on Coyne Field.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we played high school games there, and it wasn't the
you
field
did?
turf. Yeah, lacrosse. Yeah. And I actually loved playing on it. You felt fast.
You got to tell more lacrosse teams because then maybe we'd actually have a surface we could share.
Well, the biggest downfall is when you fell.
I know.
The turf burns on AstroTurf or that short turf are brutal. I mean, they last all season, especially if you keep playing on it. But other than that, I really liked it because, like I said, I felt fast. It was great. You could rip bounce shots and they bounce super high and off the turf fast.
And we used to have it in Manly.
That's right.
Yeah. And now Manly's field turf too.
Yeah.
So that's why Coyne is precious for us. It's our one spot.
Yeah.
So we
no,
live
it's a
on
cool
there.
field. It's right there. Yeah. Kind of in the center of the Manly area.
Yeah.
Or the Lally area now, I guess you'd call it.
Oh, yeah.
Where are the hotbeds for field hockey? I was saying it wasn't huge here, at least when I was growing up. What parts is it like? I want to say, is it like Philly area?
Yeah.
At least in the U.S. Like where are you recruiting typically?
Well, Pennsylvania and kind of the New Jersey area have been huge. Now there's definitely an expansion. So, um, I guess it's who's willing to give back to the game. So Texas has really grown, and a lot of it's because they're putting in funding for the resource. So Tina's done well out there with Texas Pride, and there's another Lone Star Texas group.
And they could
Um,
play year round
yeah.
most of the
So you
time.
see them up and coming. Our US team is based out of Charlotte. So you're seeing a bit more in the South happening. Yeah, but right now, Pennsylvania, New Jersey are typically the spots. It is nice to see, though, our current national team is pretty diverse. So they're opening up. Whereas I think years ago, you would see it a bit more, not as much variety with backgrounds.
It's very similar to lacrosse.
I would think so.
It was like upstate, Long Island, Baltimore for so long. And then, Philly, Connecticut. Then it started filling in the Northeast. And then it went West Coast. All of a sudden, a lot of guys would go to college in the Northeast, move to the West Coast and start coaching. So then you saw like LA, San Francisco area, some hotbeds pop up. Then it kind of filled in the middle. Now you got
Lacrosse
Texas, Denver.
has taken off.
Yeah.
We need a book out of your page.
I mean, I could see it's exciting. I mean, field hockey's exciting. It's fast. It's very, it's similar in a lot of ways, like you said. And you could play both, right? What is it typically it's a fall sport, right?
Mhm.
Even in high school. Yeah. So fall, spring.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's just awareness. That's a lot of it. But you'll see pockets, a lot of like a mom who played will come coach the area and they'll do really well, have a ton of success. And then the daughter goes on to play typically Division 1 and they want to follow them. So they stop. So I think one of our things is, can you keep the sport moving opposed to resetting it and restarting it? I think there's challenges when you don't have your male counterpart. A lot of that provides a visibility.
why is that? Is that just in the U.S. or is just because isn't there men's field hockey just not here?
Oh, it's huge. It's one of the most popular sports in the world.
That's what I thought.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
You don't see it here much, but yeah, I
Well,
know it's there.
here we have American football, right? Like our football, our baseball.
They just
'Cause-
dominate
Yeah.
the market. Yeah.
So there is a national team, a men's team. But yeah, it's small.
Yeah. What are their typical like better men's national teams? What areas in the world?
That our men's come from.
Yeah, like that are the best.
Oh, Dutch,
Dutch.
Belgium,
Yeah.
German, Australia, like Pakistan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty spread out too.
Oh yeah.
And they're all pretty competitive with each other.
Oh yeah. It's
Okay.
fast too.
Yeah.
That ball moves 100 miles per hour. It's so similar
It's
to
gotta
like
hurt.
it.
That ball's so hard.
Yeah. And they still slide.
Yeah.
The corners, you like put your gear on, basically somebody's flicking a ball at you and you're using your little stick to stop it.
When you're recruiting, what do you look for in players? I think of lacrosse, you got your athletes, you got your stick skills, you got your IQ. It's kind of the triangle. Usually most players that go at a high level have two of them down, and then if you got all three, then you're usually that special player. But is that similar to field hockey?
Yeah, pretty similar. Our theory is if we're going to be a strength-based team, you have to bring in something special. Speed is really important for us, right? But similar to what you're saying, there's different kinds of foot speed, decision-making speed, hand speed for your skills, right?
Common mix-up is people hear, oh, lacrosse is, it's a lot faster at the next level. Not just like running fast, it's decision-making and the ball moves quicker. All that stuff is way faster.
Yeah.
It's not just how fast you are.
For sure.
And-
So there's definitely a step up with if you can't run ACC is fast. So you have to have like an athletic standard to even meet that. And then on top of that, the ball needs to do the work. So your ability to move off ball and think and create that space to open those windows. And I think that's pretty similar to soccer, kind of the tactical structural side.
Mhm.
We don't have offsides. But then you're looking a bit more like
All players can go
yeah.
forward, back. Okay.
Yeah. The speed, like a basketball, right? With the transition and the movement. Yeah.
And there's no offsides.
Mm-mm.
Like you can just put,
Yeah,
kind
we
of
can
put the ball in
stretch.
front. If someone can run and get
Yeah.
it, then you're off to the race.
And we had, we call her Jimmy, but Bo Van Kempen, she was one of our players this year, graduating with a master's in Newhouse. She was up for the Honda. So that's our top field hockey player in the nation, the Honda Broderick. She was one of the finalists, but she could throw. So she picks up a ball and could throw it 50 meters. So then when you're looking at making the field as big as possible,
Yeah.
your game plan completely changes when you have somebody who can play the ball on the ground or go over with that kind of power, which is pretty special.
Do you find yourself changing your strategy based on your players a lot, or do you have a typical way you like to play and you find the players to fit that mold?
A little bit of both. However, I think again, I mean, we recruit from around the world, so it's an exciting puzzle to put together. So they definitely we're pretty attacking oriented. I mean, again, you're wearing the block S, you got to be gritty, tough,
Yeah.
right? There's some characteristics that you just have to play here. But then there are play like we'll move positions around sometimes. Um, so you could be recruited. I don't know, like you have a Bo Madden who's played a mid, a back, inside, outside, and that will be based on who we bring in, who works well together, what does their technical skills look like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's common in every sport.
Yeah,
They might play something in high school, but once they get to college, it's like, all right, where are you going to fit in? Where are you going to play?
yeah,
Usually they don't care. Like, as
I
long as I'm on the
know. Yeah,
field, that's all that matters.
yep,
You know, a lot of offensive middies go to defensive middies in lacrosse. Even we were at an event with Syracuse football. We were like recruiting, they're looking at jobs when they're done. And a lot of them was like, oh, I came in as a running back, but now I'm a linebacker. Like every position they started in high school, they were not in
yep,
college just because, you're building. It's almost a different game in a way.
yeah.
And yeah. What do you look for in a player off the field? Right. They catch your eye, you're like, oh, she's good. But what's going to make her right for Syracuse?
Yeah.
What else besides the way she plays, besides her style?
Yeah, we do a lot with character. Team dynamic is incredibly important for us. And it's an interesting time to be in right now. Like there's so much transformation happening within the NCAA. So when you talk about team dynamics, you're
And at
working
Syracuse.
within that. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Um, so character's huge. Our group, it's really important. So I think everybody's probably like, oh, we want to be a family, right? And I get that. However, when you define what a family is for us, it's very much of we will always support each other. I think that's something why I probably am still coaching is the belief in women in sport. That's who I admired growing up. And the amount of change they could bring to, I mean, like the 99ers, women's soccer. It wasn't just soccer for them. They recreated how women in sport were looked at. And then years later, they're looking for equal pay, right? So I think sport is a platform. I mean, Dawn Staley was first. There was a Sports Illustrated for women. This is probably dating me. But it was like the first magazine that showed women in sport. And that to me growing up was just eye-opening. It was amazing. So
Set you on the path.
yeah, so full circle, I think that's why I am here. So then the people we look for, they have to have drive, right? We talk about a team, so it's understanding the dynamics. You're representing something bigger than you. It kind of sets the bar of you're not just working for yourself, and how far can you be pushed because it means more than just you. So we talk about leaving the jersey in a better place, and that's what legacy is. The effort. Our academics are strong, right? Our campus relationship, it's really important we align with the institution. Our players group is in all different majors, from engineering to Newhouse to business across the board. And it's important that they're able to do that. We have one in design, which is incredibly rare too because of the hours. And then we talk about having a intent, so an intentional and a positive action to it, right? Like even today, complain about the rain, right? However, for us, it's wet turf, we can dive. Like coming with an energy of
It's
you're
got to
just
be the attitude here
it
in
has
Syracuse,
to.
especially.
It
Yeah.
ha-
No,
well, even
but
in
it's
life, right? It
100%.
changes what you're going to get out of something. So what you bring will have a direct impact on
Yeah.
what you're going to
How you
take
view
away
it.
from it. Yeah. So they have to be able to do all those things. Our family, I guess the other component of that is we do want open, direct conversations. It's a life skill. It's not super comfortable. Now we do a lot on the phone, which is a huge resource, like network
Yeah.
around the world. However, the ability to communicate and have difficult conversations is what's going to have you grow as an individual and put your team in a position for success. Always easier said than done. We
Mhm.
know that. So those are the things we talk about with the families when they come.
Yeah. And it's always interesting, I'm sure, when you're recruiting, like some parents probably try to do everything. And then when you find the student who's actually the one calling you and having those, it seems pretty easy for us to have that conversation. But when you're 16, 17, 18, like it's
Yeah.
nervous, talk to this Division I coach, and a lot of kids rely on their parents to do a lot of that stuff. And I'm sure that's kind of something you look for is like, all right, who's willing to call me? Who's willing to have that conversation? And, I'm sure they're getting better because people are realizing, but that's always something you kind of got to look at.
Yeah, if there was the magic 8 ball and it was like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? I think that's all coaches want to figure that out as quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
It's hard. You
Yeah.
talk to parents, you talk to the kid, you talk to their coach, you really try to get as much of a picture of who they are so you can make your decision. But it's not like you can spend a year doing it. You got to kind of
I
move
know.
quick.
So when it's time to show up, then, the true colors and the discovery comes out. And we'll keep on working that too. So every year we'll do kind of a checkpoint at the start and the end of our seasons. And one of our leading questions is really about the why and where's the growth. Because it's important that, well, my and our staff's theory is developing people. So we help you on the journey. Like you have your pencil litter. They should have notebooks as well. But they're crafting their journey and we're there to support, help set a bar, sometimes give a hug, sometimes give a kick. But they have to be the ones who want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spring is here, and there's no better time to upgrade your home with new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen of Central New York. Right now, the more you buy, the more you save. Starting with just one window, you can save 20% or more. Let the fresh air in and keep your energy bills down with high-quality, professionally installed windows built to last. Visit rbaofcny.com or call 315-422-3500 to get started today. I want to go back to what you said about people say we want to be a family. And it reminds me of, a clip of like the Netflix CEO talking about his company. And he's like, we're not a family, we're more like a sports team. He's like, we're there to, for each other. We're there to support each other. You make a mistake, you're not getting fired. You're not getting benched. But if you continuously don't show up and not make mistakes, and you're bringing everyone down, it's kind of the next person up. And we're a family, right? If, it's unconditional, right? You're going through a hard time for a while. It is what it is. It's your family member. Where he's like, that's, we can't be like that and be successful,
Yeah.
right? You can't put one person in front of the whole organization or team. So that's probably, a balance for you, I imagine, is you want to support these young women, but sometimes you can't, deflect everything else or, neglect everything else and just focus on one. At one point, it's got to be what's best for the team.
Yeah. I mean, there you talk about roles, we talk about this kind of push-pull system. And again, going back to what are you contributing, right? Because you're either giving or taking. It's black and white. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's kind of a binary.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, then you're probably taking, right?
Yeah.
So then it's understanding where you are in that structure too. Like pulling from the top is, yes, you're good. However, can we get better? Right? 1% better every day. And all of us, if we do it, we're 25% better. And then the push from the bottom is like the energy you bring, how you show up. It might not be the role you want in this moment. So you have the space to earn it. So we'll talk about things like that. Do quite a bit of, I think numbers don't lie. And it's great to put things on paper. So we'll stat things 1 through 10. We'll do 10 moments too, right? So you're pulling out the good things. And for everybody to reflect on that, especially as student athletes. And the women are so driven, right? So they're often their biggest critics. So then you're also getting to look at, well, how have you grown? And what is your 10 today? Like, what's good? And then stats within the team too. We'll do like a depth chart so they can see. I love when you put something out there and they believe in it and they want to go beat it, right? It could be like a jump.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, no.
Any sort of leaderboard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see it in their eyes. Love eyes. Because you can tell who's in the moment. So when you have that board, and they're competing with themselves, right? And then that's what in sport, and probably what the Netflix was talking about is we over me, right? But what does it actually look like and feel like? And how do you take those moments so they have film and they can reproduce it? Because also, as a collegiate coach, your team changes every year. So your culture is your actions and what you live by. And every year you have a group that's learning what that looks like for them, right? You could have an amazing senior captain and you might admire something they do, but you have to be you. And that's also, which is funny too, for the most successful, especially women in sport, they're always like, you need to be authentic, be authentic. And you're always like, what does that mean? So hopefully this is a space we can have them kind of figure out themselves, and then take that as a direct kind of, so when they go to the next page, when they graduate, it's the next chapter, but they feel like they're building on their journey.
Yeah. And I think you made a great case for why companies love to hire student athletes.
Oh my gosh.
Just the competitiveness. And it's, all about we, but also competitive with yourself to be the best me I can be, to be a better we.
Yeah. So before our incoming class comes in, we try to connect with them. And that's one of the first things on. And I do a slide just because it's visual, right? And there's a lot going on. But women in sport, the direct relationship for C-suite, leadership, executives, sport does so much for us.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's reflecting on that as well. So that's something that is in RY as a program.
And that's something you always have to be conscious of, because you're not coaching a pro team. It's not like, these are full grown adults that are there getting paid. No, you have a team, you have a mission, there's things you want to accomplish from a field hockey program perspective. But you also have to keep in mind, these are young women that you're preparing for the rest of their lives.
I know. And
that's quite a balance. And a lot of it probably goes hand in hand, right? If you're doing things to be successful on the field, it probably, because it's all kind of one. But I'm sure it can be tricky at times.
Oh, yeah. Again, especially what the professional side does is it cycles back into the development of the sport. So without that, you're also like, you believe in your mission and you just identified how powerful it is. Yet everything in sport, in my opinion, the resources are a component of it, right? Like you can only stretch so much. And that's where sometimes you wish there was that counterpart. Or I think Ashley, one of our current women's national team players, is trying to get some kind of league jump started on the field hockey side. That is one of the challenges, probably Olympic sports, non-revenue generating. Again, lacrosse has done a tremendous job.
Yeah, but even with lacrosse, the guys I played with, no one was like, I'm going to make a living playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
So it's just a different mindset than football or basketball, where there's guys who are like, I want to play in the NFL, I want to play in the NBA, and ultimately potentially be set for life.
Yeah.
No one has that in lacrosse. I mean, even with the PLL, they're doing a great job. NLL, you got to be just playing lacrosse is not even going to do it. It's all the other things you do, I guess, as a pro player that you could probably make a pretty good living. But so I guess as a coach, you have to keep that in mind. Like, I'm not just making good field hockey players. I'm making, great young women who can do anything they want to pursue post-grad.
Now, do you think some of those teammates or some of those, the players at that level, do they give back to the sport in other ways?
Yes. I was going to say there's a lot of opportunity in lacrosse to do that, right? To coach club, to coach high school, to run programs. And a lot of guys, I did that. I moved to Texas, I was there for 7 years. We coached at a high school, started a club down there. Austin, lacrosse was booming. There was one club there, and the guy's resume was that he was from Long Island. I don't even know if he played in college. So we're like, all right, a bunch of Syracuse grads, or two of us moved down. Dom Finn, he graduated kind of early 90s. We got put in touch by Charlie Lockwood, a mutual friend. We moved down and we started this club, got in touch with another coach down there, Chris Delphos, and started it. We literally had 22 people signed up a week before our first, we're like, oh gosh, it was 12. We're like, are we even going to have a team? Ultimately had like 3 teams, built it to 12 teams. My now wife moved down, ran the women's side. She had 6 teams. So we got it. We're the biggest in Austin at one point.
Love that.
And, we're all coaching at different high schools. And then all of a sudden we're sending people, players to Notre Dame, to Utah. It's because we had them from second grade all the way through. And as everyone gets better, the individuals get better, even from a citywide standpoint.
Yeah. For sure.
So you see that a lot, though. Like when I was talking about the East Coast to West Coast, it's because a lot of guys moved out and started programs out there. It's, as you do it every day. It's rewarding, right? You get good at something. You want to give back. Obviously, it's nice to get paid for it, too. But a lot of it is just developing these players. I just had a player who I coached in Austin from the time, he was probably in 3rd, 4th grade when I moved down. He just graduated from Utah.
That's
and
cool.
He called me and he's like, I just want to say thank you. He's like, I wouldn't have been here without you guys, coaching me in club, because I coached him in high school as well. And he's like, I just loved my experience playing here at Utah. I got to start my last 5 games. And he's like, I just know if you guys weren't here, that would have never happened. And it was
incredible.
Just so cool, because I've been removed for a few years now. It's so cool to still have that
Isn't
conversation.
Isn't it powerful to thank you? So
Yeah.
that's a big thing for us too, as if we can get our group to understand almost like, and I think men do this so well, as a safety net too. If somebody falls, we'll pick them up, right? You don't have to be best friends. However, we can create this network. We can give back to our sport.
Mhm.
Doesn't always have to be financial. However, like what you did completely changes lives. Gosh, I remember when I was coaching the first time here at Syracuse, I gave one of our neighbors from my hometown a poster. It was a Syracuse poster. I don't know, maybe elementary school, right? And then I didn't even think Darcy was that athletic, to be honest. But you're like, she's young and she's figuring out sports. And then years later, she's playing for freaking BC and you're coaching against her. But you're like, cool. Like, does that poster make a difference? I don't know. But like,
Yeah.
you never know the lives you can touch. So getting our group to understand, well, what does a network look like, and how do we give back to sport, and how do it has to grow, and it's our job to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny too how many players, as coaching high school, coaching club, hey coach, could I play here? Could I play at Virginia? Could I play at Syracuse? And it's always like, yeah, you could, because a lot of it depends on what you do when you get there.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like, of course, you got to get in. They got to recruit you to even, have a chance to play there. But so many players, it's like, it's not about like, oh, how he is as a senior in high school. That's just, they're looking at like, does he have the raw ability? Maybe he's on the right path. But really, it's, that summer going in, once you get there in the fall, what are you doing? Are you putting in the work? Are you putting in the actual work, right? Everyone's going to practice. Who's staying after? Who's coming before? Who's getting closer to that 10,000 hours and really finding a way to be competitive? Because like, I truly believe, some of the guys that were all Americans in lacrosse and maybe field hockey is similar is like, you look at like the U.S. team, you would not guess half those guys were on the U.S. team. It's not like these basketball players are all 7 foot. No,
Yeah,
it's like
it's the same.
everyone's different shapes and sizes and different skill. It's just who's refining it enough to be that competitive.
For sure. So then you're almost, it's no longer trying, right? Because everybody's trying. So then it's the mentality of, well, what are you getting better at, right? And
Yeah.
what time are you willing to put in? And that's also, it's so funny that you say that too, because you have, gosh, I think, so I've been out of St. Joe's for a while now. So we're starting, like, weddings are coming up, babies, things like that.
Yeah.
There was like 10 of them, all different places, running freaking marathons. But it was cool because I got one text and it was basically, so she transferred, played, and then she also ended up staying a 5th year and did a master's program. And it was neat because it was exactly that, as a thank you of like, look, I never thought I'd be running a marathon, and I had the time to reflect, and basically the belief I now have in myself. Because okay, and when I was coaching, we did a 2K, a mile and a lap, and the amount they complained about running a mile and a lap. And here they are running marathons. It just makes you laugh. And the group that are running the marathon, some of them I wouldn't have guessed in a million years. But it's neat to see it's so much about a belief in self. What are you willing to do? What is your hard? And are you going to give it a go?
Yeah.
And I think that's something else about Syracuse I'll always say is you have to be willing to take a risk. Like, this isn't we don't play safe. There isn't, like, while we can take components of our tradition and we want to move certain things forward 100%, we want to try new things. So you have to be willing to come in and be okay taking risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to run a lacrosse podcast, Cross Recruiting 101. I would talk to coaches just like this,
Okay.
lacrosse coaches. And one of my favorite questions, which obviously can pertain to field hockey too, is how do you get buy-in from the players at the end of the bench? I know it could be easier when they're young, like, hey, keep working hard, you'll play. But sometimes it's juniors and seniors. And as they say, you're only as good as your weakest player. And I, truly believe that in a sense of those are the ones in practice pushing your starters, right? If they're checked out, they're not getting good reps in practice. That translates to the games. How do you get the buy-in from a team, even to the players who don't play? And I think this could maybe translate to corporate world, to a lot of things. And I'm just wondering, like, what are your thoughts, or, what are some things you try to do to get everyone bought in?
It always comes back to culture, right? Like, what are you highlighting as important? What are your leaders paying attention to? Where did they come from, and how do they share their winning strategies? I remember after Old Dominion, when we won a national championship, and Marina actually won the Honda Award, and then she went back to Argentina and played on their national team, which never happens because Argentina is just number one in the world, and they're like, you go to US, not quality hockey. So she worked her ass off to get on that national team. which was really cool. So, but anyways, so we won a national championship, and the first thing she did and she was a captain as well, like, in her speech was thank the red shirts. Like, you don't always see that, but
No, not
and
at
it's
all.
the first thing she did. So things like that are so powerful. So we'll always give a place for our team to have conversation to each other as well, and what shows up. Like, sometimes you can help navigate a conversation a little bit. I think that's the fun part about coaching. That's why I said psychology would have been helpful if I actually pursued that for a championship. And I think recognizing them, sometimes it might be the awards. Well, I'm still fairly new at Syracuse. I'm in year 3, and you're coming off COVID, you're coming in, we've had quite a bit of transition. So I think it takes some time. Our goal has been pulling tradition forward and then creating an evolution as well. But sometimes you can name awards after the programs. I've done that before. Name awards after some of your individuals, almost like your unsung heroes,
Yeah.
right? But it's a space where, even in training, if you give them the floor to have a conversation, it makes a world of a difference. Even Emma, who was coaching here with us, Emma Russell, was on the Syracuse national championship team, and the person
2015.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of her best teammate stories again was someone who didn't really play, but she said we wouldn't have won the championship without her, right? And I think you just have to keep on sharing that, because everybody wants to bring a value, and how you define your success and what that looks like. You just have to be willing to, a lot of times, talk about it and kind of create your film and understand how powerful it can be, even though it might not have been exactly what you wanted it to look like. It's never easy. Like, winning doesn't automatically bring joy and happiness too. Like, you win a national championship, and there's
Well, a lot of the competitiveness is not the fact that you love winning; it's that you just hate losing.
well, I'm coming in here too, and I messaged some of my teammates, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on this podcast, and like, I haven't. Maybe I'm too old. Like, what even were memories that you guys have?" And we started, like, recalling some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, when did this happen? Where?" And then at the end, I was like, "Oh my gosh, guys, none of these were about winning. None of them, and we won a lot. We won a lot. We won conference tournaments. We were at Final Fours. Won a national championship." But the memories were a standard set that we were, like, striving for, and we didn't quite reach. So then we were relying on each other, and then it's like you go after it again. So you're right.
Yeah.
Our best memories. Now, granted, we love winning, but it was in the journey. It was in the, I don't know, going through it together.
100%. And that's
Yeah.
what I was going to kind of get at, is when I see young players now who are like focused on being an All-American, being all conference. It's like, yeah, that's great recognition. It's a great honor, but it doesn't matter, especially as you get older. Like, what matters is, were you competitive, and these memories you have. A lot of it is when you have all these good memories with your team, usually is because you were good. It wasn't necessarily because you were winning, but you had the culture. And, when you have that culture, usually that, translates to success on the field. But yes, being one of those end of the bench players 5, 10, 15 years down the road, like, no one cares. No one even
Yeah.
talks about it. It's just like, oh, he was a great buddy, a great play. It's like you have those shared experiences together. And it's like, if you can work hard to know that it's going to be a great thing to hold on to for the rest of your life, probably a hard thing to tell an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever it is. But, as you age, it's just like we were all in it together. It didn't matter if you were a first team All-American or you never saw the field. We're all one.
You know what's funny about that too is what we'll do every spring. I'll bring in an alum for target different generations, right? Like different professions now, and bring them in to speak to the team. Because then I think you can see the bigger picture, right? Like, you can learn from the stories. How does what you did relate to maybe your work now? And was it worth it? What was hard for you? The current team never asked about winning. And though, again, the stories aren't about, I was an All-American, or I finished here in the conference, or I'm in the record book. Like, usually it's a teammate that identifies somebody that's in a record book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're never going to be like, I was in the record. It's like, usually people are humble enough to not do that. But yeah, no, it's, it's just something that's tricky. It's something that's tough, because it's like that instant gratification versus the delayed gratification. Like the instant, like, oh, if I, play, then people say, great, well, you played, boom, I get it right there. If I'm not playing, I'm going to go somewhere else. Whereas, like, all right, maybe I love everything about here. I'm not playing currently, but I know this is a good situation, and ultimately it's going to be a good fit. And, we're a team. we win as a team, we lose as a team, we score as a team, right? We get scored on as a team. It's not you doing it. And ultimately that just carries. And it's, like you said, some of the fondest memories I have. And I think, most of our teammates would say the same.
Yeah. As a coach, though, you never know when the light bulb's going to go off.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
And then sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes guys leave, or women leave. It's like,
yeah, but even when they leave, you're like, they're gonna
At some
click.
point,
It's
yeah.
gonna turn on at some point, and they're gonna reflect. And
and that doesn't mean every situation you should stay.
oh yeah,
Right. If you feel like you're in an unfair situation, because I ended up transferring. It wasn't because I was in an unfair situation. It just wasn't the right fit.
yeah,
And I could have just been like, whatever, I'm going to grind it out. But instead I decided, it was like when I knew, I was like, all right, I'm going to make a change. And ended up being the best. That's when I transferred to Syracuse. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I don't regret initially going, I don't regret anything there. I just am glad I made the move when I made the move.
oh yeah.
So,
And we'll have conversations about that too. I think at the end of the day, you bring you no matter where you go.
yeah.
Right. And as long as you know that and you're reflecting on what is your fit and how do you articulate it, then, that's part of the journey too. And if you make the move and it doesn't work, you learn, but you're doing it for you. So, yeah, that's a part of our world now. And our goal is to support whether they're here or go. However, we'll have the conversations to really dive into, again, the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very common business and sport.
Well, we have 4 rising seniors for this fall, and 2 of them are transfers.
So young team, you would say?
Oh, yeah.
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 What's the focus on this fall? Getting ready.
Well,
A lot of things.
yeah, a lot of things.
Cool. Well, Lynn, best of luck. I really appreciate you coming on. This was a blast having you on here. And yeah, go Orange.
Well, thanks. Another thing too is if you have any suggestions or recommendations, we do a lot to engage with the community. So my theory has also been, well, what if we pair with young development lacrosse groups? So that's something I'm wondering, because our group now, like, we'll do things with local YMCA, or we had a Girl Scout troop come in, or we've done reading, right? But then if you're looking at the sport, and there's not a ton out here in our community, but we have small pockets. However, what you were talking about with lacrosse, the youth leagues, they're strong, they're powerful. And sometimes I actually think playing different sports is huge. You learn about like even our 9-year-old he say, I'm a soccer player, like I'm going to go pro. And you're like, okay, take some work, but we'll see. He played lacrosse and his soccer game improved. Like 100% believe in that. So if we could get maybe lacrosse and hockey paired at a young age, it could actually create stronger lacrosse players, right? So if you have any suggestions there, or if anybody's out there, because I know this is a lacrosse community, I think that would be really fun to do. And also when you can engage your university, it's quite powerful, because I think sometimes our student athletes don't understand how powerful they are and how they're role models and leaders. And we started to get people coming up with jerseys and asking the girls to sign it. Hattie Madden has a little fan around here, which isn't huge for our sport. I think in lacrosse, it's what we do here.
Yeah.
And then also for the young crew, you never know who they're going to watch, you know what I mean? And what's going to inspire them. So if anybody wants to pair out there with a kind of youth growing the game, it'd be pretty cool.
I mean, especially if your players are willing to come out for like an hour, just do a little shoot around, show them how to play. Like I could think my daughter's 5 years old. She would eat that up, especially wearing the block guys. She loves Syracuse. I mean, that's how those things start. They're like, oh, I went to this one thing. I saw these players play and I was like, I want to do that. 100%. And then all of a sudden they're, playing in college or whatever, playing at Syracuse. So yeah, well, we put the word out and hopefully we can set something up. I think that's a great idea. Cool. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.